These are provocative images, likely to stir anger in Hong Kong, not calm concerns. The sight of well-known pro-democracy activists behind the bars of a police car will alarm those who fear the authorities are fast running out of patience and employing ever more controversial tactics to quell the protests. Joshua Wong and Agnes Chow, both still just 22, are well known to the authorities as student leaders of the protests in 2014. If they're nervous about the personal implications, it didn't seem to dim their determination.
We Hong Kong people won't give up and won't be scared by these white terror and injustice, but we will keep on fighting for democracy.
We shall not surrender. And I urge international communities to send a clear message to President Xi. Sending troops or using emergency ordinance is not the way out.
We spoke to Joshua Wong a few hours after his arrest and court appearance, and he warned the crackdown could be pushing protesters into violence.
I don't advocate of violence, but I understand the reason for people use force to protect themselves. And that's the reason why Hong Kongers have sympathy on them.
He was spotted speaking to us and immediately drew calls of support and defiance from passers-by. Hong Kong has been gripped by weeks of protests, some of them violent, with water cannon being used by the police for the first time last weekend, whilst protesters responded by lobbing Molotov cocktails. The rally planned for this weekend has been banned, but the arrested activists insist people are ready to defy that.
You think the protests will go ahead despite them being banned?
People will still gather on Hong Kong Island to show that we must not silence our voice under the crackdown of human rights.
On Thursday, Chinese troops were seen on the streets of Hong Kong, with the China People's Liberation Army suggesting it was just a routine rotation of troops in its Hong Kong garrisons. The move came as once again riot police were seen performing exercises in the Chinese city of Shenzhen, which borders Hong Kong. The timing of these manoeuvres has been viewed as a deliberate warning that Beijing is at the very least threatening to deploy armed forces in the city for the first time. The huge demonstrations have plunged Hong Kong into its worst political crisis in decades, sparked by the government's plan for an extradition law which would have sent criminal suspects to China for the first time. The arrests of such prominent activists and, frankly, young people who many view as civilian heroes around these parts is likely to incense Hong Kongers who are bracing themselves for further violence over the next few days. The international community will be looking on to see just how the authorities and, more importantly, how Beijing responds. Alex Crawford, Sky News, Hong Kong.